We've been out and got some fresh compost today. We needed to get some at some point, and I've got some of this. This is Vitax Q4 compost, and we've had this before and it was really good compost. 3 bags for £18 seems quite reasonable, and they are 56 litre bags as well. And it's also really good for seed starting, hanging baskets and containers, so it also contains a good amount of feed as well. So another addition to this season. And while I was out, I also got some sweet bell pepper seeds. I've been saying I need to do some more, but I didn't have the seeds. But I managed to get a pack of these California Wonder bell pepper seeds, so we can get some of those started. We need to get those started as soon as possible. And thank you so much to Connor and Ann Trotter for making those donations to the channel. Massively appreciated as always, and it helps us pop out and get little things like this and sow and grow as much as we possibly can. So thank you so much for your generosity, really appreciated. One other thing that I did do is I also got some celery. I don't know if you've grown celery before, but it's not something I always grow because it can be a little bit tricky. It takes quite a while for those seeds to germinate, a couple of weeks or so, sometimes even longer. It depends on whether you keep them warm in an heat propagator or just leave them in a warm room somewhere. But they do need that warmth for those seeds to germinate. But we're doing a lot of container gardening this year, so we're going to do some celery and then we're going to eventually transfer them into probably 10 litre containers and grow it on like that. That way we can move it around as we need to, if it needs any protection. But celery is also quite frost hardy. But the problem with celery is one or two things: the seeds are so tiny, so you've got to kind of multi-sow it with the intention of only keeping one plant. So you're better off putting 3 or 4 seeds in a cell, letting them germinate and grow, and then selecting the biggest, healthiest looking plant, and then just pinching off the others, so you've got one plant per cell to then move on to somewhere bigger. And this one is a self-blanching one as well. I'm going to get some of that started today. Typically you want to be starting your celery around March, April. It does take a while to get to an half decent size for transplanting, and then it needs around 120 to 180 days, depending on weather, to reach maturity so you can actually start harvesting. So along with peppers, it's one of those that you want to get started quite early in season, and that's why we're doing it today. So we're all set up for a Sunday morning. We've got this new compost, we've got our seeds. We just need to sort out a couple of trays and get them on the way. The seeds for the peppers that we're doing have once again been soaked in tea. Just a very weak tea solution. We've just left those overnight, and that's going to help these peppers germinate in probably a week or so, rather than as they normally would take them to a month. It's all about timing. So very weak tea, soak overnight at room temperature, and then that's going to enable those seeds to germinate a lot quicker. I don't actually need a lot of celery. We're just doing a few in containers. So something like this, it's not a bad size, and that'll hold 12 individual plants. And then the peppers, we could do the same if we wanted, but I like to start them off in something a little bit smaller like this, because they are only very small seedlings. But I don't even need that many. There's about 30 odd plants that would come from that. I think half of those will do. I've got a smaller one, so that's what I'm going to use. So we'll get some of this new compost sieved, get it in a container, and we can start off as peppers and as celery, both at the same time today. Well, I've sieved some of that compost. It's important to have really fine compost when you're getting such tiny seedlings. So we sieve it, get rid of all those lumps, and you can see that this new stuff is really good quality. So that's going to be perfect. And we've had a few comments as well on the last few videos about the light, probably at about this level, doesn't seem very good, and that's because of the position of the sun. so it creates like a fog effect. It's not the camera, and the lens doesn't need cleaning, but at certain points at day the sun comes around there and it just creates this kind of appearance of mist. But there's not much I can do about that. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get these pepper seeds sorted out. Just need to compress that down once I've filled it. We just want a nice firm base for us plants. And then just top it back off. And that's the pepper one set up. First thing we need to do is just drain this tea. So I'll just drain them into this little sieve so we don't lose any seeds. I'm not even sure how many I put in here, but there looks to be quite a few, to be honest. So pretty simple job to do this. Just keep picking out these seeds with the end of my finger and just popping them on top. I'm hoping that we're going to have enough seeds to put 2 in each cell. That way we're going to guarantee ourselves some germination. You don't want to be waiting for seeds to germinate that might not germinate, especially if they've got a long growing season ahead. So you might as well put a couple in, basically just double your chances. I think we've got enough to put a couple in some of them, so we're still going to get a good amount. And that's that done. So I'm just going to poke them down with a pencil. A couple of millimetres, that's all you need. Because this is better quality compost and it's also been sieved, it's going to make it a lot easier for these plants to push through when that time comes. So we don't want to be pushing them too deep. I'll do it. Using this colander, very fine layer of compost. And celery, you will discover, is very small seeds. And this one I'm going to pre-moisten. Just make sure we've got loads of moisture in these cells. And I'll just give those peppers a quick water at the same time. Now we'll just take a look at these seeds. As I was saying, if you can see that, very tiny. And the way we're going to do these is we're going to put 3 or 4 in each, as carefully as possible. You can see them on this dark compost. Try and get them into the centre as well. It's not always that easy. As long as we get a few in there, we're going to be alright. As I said, we're going to be removing most of the seedlings, just leaving the cells with 1. I put a lot more on there than I wanted to, but never mind. I think we've just guaranteed the cells some germination. And you can do 2 things with these now. You don't have to cover celery seeds. You can just press them down into the compost like that, so they've got really good contact. Or you can give them a very light covering. That's entirely up to you, the way you do it. You can opt for this method or give them a covering. That's all you'd need to do with that. Just press them down. They've got very good contact with that moist compost. I'm going to leave these like that for now, and we're taking them back indoors. So a little bit more done today on a miserable Sunday afternoon. But we're getting things going. Remember to put these seeds back in here and take them indoors. We don't want damp seed packets, or seeds will end up being no good. And we have got quite a few of those celery seeds left, so we can sow some more in a couple of weeks' time. So we've got a celery, we've got the sweet bell peppers sorted out, and now we're going to take them in and we'll pop them on an heat mat and we'll see how long they take to germinate. I'm hoping the peppers will be up in a week or so, but I think the celery is going to take a little bit longer. And then once they get to a decent size, we'll remove all the smaller seedlings and just leave ourselves one plant in each cell. So if you've never tried celery, anytime between now and end of March you can get those seeds sown and see how they go for you this year. If you're interested in seeing what else I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I look forward to seeing you all then.